Yeah. Today is yoga for strength. We're gonna work on building strength and getting to side crow. So just playing with side crow, not necessarily fretting if you can or cannot get it. Taking a journey, working towards it, learning the different patterns of strength we need so that you can build upon it. Give it a try. It's a lot of fun. So we're gonna start seated. Getting nice and tall in your seat, landing on your mat and letting go of whatever else is present. If sitting crisscross isn't your most comfortable, feel free to grab a chair. And just start to land. Soften the hands, soften the shoulders, soften the face. And try to get taller in the spine, as if little pockets of space are forming between each vertebrae. Start to slow the breath. Notice where you're breathing, noticing if you're breathing up into the chest or if you're drawing all the way down to the bottom parts of the lungs. Notice if you're having to force your breath. And then bringing thumb and forefinger to touch on each hand. Take little circles and really be present with what you feel on the tip of the finger and the tip of the thumb. And then hold your hands soft. So thumb and forefinger touch, other fingers are soft. And think about the circle that is made by your thumb and forefinger. Circle with no beginning and no end, a connection. And begin to think about your innermost truth, your moral compass, your spirit. And think about all of the layers of yourself, your actions, your mind, your life, being in line with your innermost truth, making that eternal circle. And if you have a higher power, perhaps thinking about yourself and your truth being in line with your higher power. And then let your hands soften open. Return to your breath. And then slowly bring your chin all the way down to the chest and locate what is present in the back of the neck. And take a really slow circle with the head, really trying to feel all the muscles of the neck and whatever is present in the neck. And then reverse your circle nice and slow, not dropping the head backwards, but feeling the muscles as you lean through the circle. And then bring your head back to neutral and we'll begin to move and breathe. And we're going to start to work the core, twisting through the core. So draw the stomach in a little, pull it towards the spine. We're going to practice drawing in, drawing the spine, drawing the stomach in, making a little hollow out. Start to engage a little here, and then we're going to bring our arms out of the game. We're going to inhale center and exhale twist with that little hollow. So we're not going to get very far with our muscles engaged. Inhale center, exhale twist. Make the movement come from the core. And notice if you're pushing into a hip or a foot to get more movement. Try to make the movement come from the core. Inhale center, exhale twist. Inhale center, exhale twist to the right, hold to the right. So engage and hold. Let the arms come down just so the fingertips are resting, not gripping, nothing gripping but the muscles of the stomach. And then we're going to take the rib cage a little bit over to the right and then pull it back, trying to keep everything engaged. So now we're using muscles in the sides of our stomach, torso, or oblique muscles. And then slowly bring your chest back to center. We're going to inhale as we lift the chest and keep out, lifting the sternum. Exhale as we draw the sternum back and round a little. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. So starting to really feel the muscles of the stomach, and if you really need to find help, you can press your fingertips in, locate the muscles that you're trying to use. So rather than taking a huge movement with the spine, we're just trying to activate and find the muscles. We can squeeze and locate them without a huge movement of the spine. Inhale, lift the sternum. Exhale, little pull back. Lift the sternum, get really, really tall. Draw the muscles in towards the spine, really tight in the core, and then twist to the left, staying engaged. So little tiny twist, really strong in the stomach. Bring the hands down without gripping, so no pulling and yanking, just fingertips down. And then we're going to take the rib cage left and right, left and right, making the movement come from the core, from these oblique muscles, left and right. Watch for gripping, watch for pushing in the hips and the feet. And then slowly bring the torso back to center. Take little soft spirals with the rib cage, little soft spirals. And then back the other way. When we move, we're thinking about moving the muscles, not just rotating around on the spine. We're engaging the muscles, finding that mind-body connection. Locating the muscles that make the movement happen, locating the muscles that are trying to work, that are not really supposed to be the primary movers. So locating low back, trying to soften low back, trying to soften around the feet and the hips. And then bring that back to center. We're going to work the hands a little. We're going to be balancing on our hands. We're going to work our hands. Take the hands out and spread the fingers wide, just wide enough to feel the muscles of the hands. So if you have tension or inflammation in the wrists, keep them a little closer together, but find the muscles of the hands. And then flip the palms up, and we're going to pull the fingertips down to the ground. So you should start to feel the muscles in the forearms. And then we're going to draw the fingertips in towards midline and then out. Trying not to move the forearms too much. The muscles are engaged, but we're moving from below the wrist. Slow your breath, soften your face, soften your low back. And then take those hands in a very slow circle. So trying to find all the muscles in the forearms and the hands very slow, not rolling around in the joint. And then around in the other direction, opposite direction. And then bring the hands, fingertips point towards you, land them on the ground, and then open up back at the wrists. So you can keep this static and press the wrists down to the ground, or you can take little movements pulsing. Notice which feels better for you. Slowly opening up, not yanking the muscles to their end zone. If this is too much for you, you can bring your hands beside you and just start to strengthen here. Strengthen and lengthen. Bring your hands back to your lap, shoulders soft. And we're going to work the shoulders. So we're going to think about our shoulders and draw our shoulder blades back together. Squeeze as tight as we can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then slowly pull our shoulder blades up to our ears while keeping the squeeze. Slow, slow, slow. And then we're going to lift and draw down, keeping the muscles engaged. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze down. Keeping an eye on the low back. Keeping an eye on any gripping in the hips. And then take the hands out ahead of the shoulders. Now we're going to widen across the shoulder blades and feel an opening, winding across the shoulder blades, maybe even drawing the sternum a little bit back. And then bring yourself back to a long, tall, seated position with your back soft. So nice and soft in the back. We're going to work through pushing through the shoulders. So we're going to push one hand away at a time and then pull it back. So push one back forward, pull one back, using the muscles around the shoulders. Nice and slow, feel your shoulders. Take the hands wide as if you're pushing the walls away from you, holding the arms. Push the arms long and then draw them back into the sockets. Push and then pull. So we're squeezing through the front and the back of the shoulders. It's a small movement. Find the muscles that make this happen. And then bring that down and take slow, slow circles with the shoulders, one at a time. And then make your way over to a tabletop position. And start to move and breathe in tabletop. So inhaling tabletop, exhaling towards a child's pose shape. Inhale tabletop and exhale child's pose. Starting to take any sways or movements that feel right in your body in this moment. moving with your breath. And then bring it to a tabletop. Take your hands a little bit further out from your shoulders. Engage. So pull back from your wrists with all of the muscles of the arms and the chest. Slow, slow, slow. Lower the forearms down towards the ground with keeping your muscles of your chest engaged. And then slow draw the elbows back up. Slow down. And then slow up. Lower the forearms down and feel like you're pulling the mat apart with your arms and hands without letting them move. So nice and strong and engaged in the chest and the forearms and the arms. And we're gonna hollow out. So start to draw the chest. Pull the sternum up towards the ceiling. Slow, hollow out. Engage. And if you're ready, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and take a little more weight. Really pulling the sternum towards the ceiling. Really pulling a hollow out in the chest with arms and shoulders engaged. Maybe you start to lift the hips a little. Really strong and engaged. And then lower the knees and slowly lower all the way down to a crocodile pose. Shimmy the hips, let go. And we'll move and breathe here. Starting to lift the shoulders with the inhale. All muscles in the back line engaged. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Hands can be down on the ground for balance, but not pressing into the hands. We're using the muscles of our back to lift our shoulders, maybe beginning to lift our feet. Think about lifting and then getting long from the tailbone to the crown of the head, making space for the spine as we engage the muscles of the back. Engage the glutes, engage the back of the legs. Lift and hover at a comfortable point. Breathe, get really long. Hands can stay down or they can lift and hover. We're going to take little twists. So thinking about the space between the rib cage and the hip on the back, we're going to take the right shoulder towards the right hip, little squeeze. Inhale back to center, left shoulder towards left hip. Feet can remain down. You want to be strong in this. So as long as you can breathe steady. Start to locate the muscles that help us twist and bend and move. And then bring it down to crocodile. Shimmy the hips. Let everything soften. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. And then slowly make your way back to a child's pose. Take a little reset in child's pose. Come back to a tabletop and we're going to start to twist. So landing in your tabletop, we're going to lift the left hand even with the shoulder and engage. So we're not falling into this right shoulder, we're lifting up. Lift this hand even with the shoulder. And then we're going to draw up, Inhale as we draw up. Exhale as we slowly lower back to the ground. Inhale, reach, twist. Exhale, lower. Squeeze the muscles of the stomach and especially the sides. Use the chest. Feel the shoulder. Soften the face. Lower the left hand. Bring the right hand up, even with the shoulder. Squeeze, lift up out of the left shoulder. Inhale as you open up wide. Exhale as you slowly bring it back down. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, squeeze and lower. Bring it back to a tabletop position. Tuck the toes and hover the knees. Again, pulling up out of that ground, bringing the sternum up towards the ceiling, engaging the chest. From here, we're going to try and keep the upper body strong and steady. And we're going to take the right knee towards the left shoulder. Back, left knee towards the left shoulder. So feeling an engaged twist. We're not flopping around in our hips. Our stomach is engaged and we're starting to bring a twist in. Turning and twisting. Inhale, center. Exhale as you draw the opposite knee to the opposite elbow. And then send yourself up to a down dog and warm up the position in whatever way feels right for you. Take some nice slow breaths. And find the stillness of down dog. Let your neck soften. And imagine with every exhale, you're letting go of whatever is no longer needed. Slowly lift the right leg high without moving the arms and shoulders. Engaged and pulling up out of the ground. Reach the right leg high and long. Breathe. Take an inhale. With the exhale, you're going to twist. Bring the knee towards the left elbow. Inhale long. Exhale, slowly twist. Hollow out the belly. And bring the knee to the opposite elbow. Inhale. Exhale. Reach the right leg long, and then this time step through low lunge. Find your blocks. And we're going to inhale as we bend the leg. Exhale as we send the right leg towards straight. Find a low lunge. Get really strong in both legs. If you're using the blocks, make sure you're just using them for balance. Both legs are engaged. Leave the left hand where it is. If you're on the ground, if you're on a block, it's nicer if you're on a block because you can get a longer spine. Stay super engaged in the core. Open right arm up to the right side. So long twist. Really long in the spine, pulling in the stomach muscles to twist open. You can drop this right hand to the hip if it's more comfortable in the shoulder. Little bend in the back leg. Really engaged in the legs. Really engaged in the core. Press with the right arm away from you and slowly pull up, twisted lunge. You can drop the right arm down, reach the left arm up. You can tuck this right hand behind your hip. Make sure all of the twist is coming from the core and not yanking with your arm. If you remove your arm, you shouldn't flip back. Slowly come back to a regular high lunge. Bring your hands to prayer. Step the back foot in so that you're a little more balanced. Strong, strong legs, strong core. You're going to take the left arm ahead of the shoulder. Right hand can stay on the hip. We're going to push forward a little with the hand, extending the torso, torso engaged. Hold here. We're going to open. Inhale as we open. Exhale as we twist. Inhale as we open. Exhale as we twist. Legs need to remain super strong and steady to keep your balance, and the twist is coming from the core. Bring it back. Regular high lunge. Hands of prayer. Slowly step in, mountain pose. Inhale up, exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. Bring your prayer to heart, step a little bit wider, about mat width apart. We're going to work twisting muscles again. All about twisting today. Engage your legs first. So feel like you're pulling the mat apart with your feet. Really strong legs, outside and inside. Not locking the knees, so not locking into the very back of the knees, but letting energy move freely throughout the legs. Torso long. Bring it a little tilt. Tiny tilt, just enough to engage all the muscles of the core. If you want to make this more difficult, you're going to bring your arms out, even with the shoulders. Inhale, center. Exhale, left hand towards left foot, left side. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. We're not reaching down. We're just moving with stomach engaged. Legs super engaged. Bring it back to center, torso back to center. We're going to step back into mountain pose. This time, inhale, arms overhead, and swan dive down with the exhale. Step back, high plank. Hold a high plank. Lift up out of the ground with all of the muscles of the chest and shoulders. Engage the core, engage the legs. Breathe. Weight onto the left hand. Lifting, lifting, lifting. Right hand up, reach and open. Slowly return the right hand. Set up nice and strong. Pull out of the ground. Lift the left. Reach and open. Bring it back down. Straight to down dog. And find your breath. Engage the chest, shoulders, arms, stomach. Really set your base in your arms. Slowly as you can, lift the left leg high without moving the arms and shoulders. Reach long, push the heel up to the ceiling. Take an inhale with the exhale, bend the knee, bring it towards the right elbow with a hollowed out chest and belly. Nice and slow, stomach engaged. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze and twist. Inhale long, exhale, step through low lunge. And then inhale, bent leg, exhale, send it towards straight. Moving and breathing. Find a low lunge. Engage both legs, hips even. It's nice and strong. Right hand remains down on the block. Open up, twist to the left. Engaged core, really engaged core. Left arm can come down to the hip, strong. Think about getting long, long, long in the spine, then twisting. Twisting from the core, not the hips, not the sacrum. Breathe. Little bend in the back leg. Open up, pushing from the left arm. Really pull from the core. Rise up, twisted lunge. Dropping that back hand up and reaching the front hand up. Dropping the back hand back, reaching the front hand up. Slowly. Keeping your twisted lunge. And then bringing it back. Regular high lunge, hands of prayer. Perhaps stepping the back foot in for balance. Really strong legs, strong base. Right arm even with the shoulder. Really pushing from the shoulder here, so pushing, engaging the torso. And then we're going to inhale as we open and exhale as we twist and push. Really find the muscles that twist. Legs engaged, face soft. And then bring it back, regular high lunge. Slowly step forward, mountain pose. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart. Bring your prayer to heart. We're going to work through the muscles of the legs a little. So sink the hips down to a little baby chair. So just enough so that you can feel all the muscles of the legs engaged. Imagine you're squeezing an imaginary block between the knees and pulling the knees apart at the same time. So find both sides of the legs. Super engaged. Low back a little bit softer. Stomach super engaged, long in the spine, soft in the shoulders, soft in the face, not gripping the toes. Super engaged, slowly peel, one heel at a time up off the ground, trying not to move the torso. So long and slow movements, feeling all of the legs. My block's in the way. And if you're ready, starting to peel both heels up at the same time. Nice and slow. Try to keep that imaginary block squeeze in the legs. Finding the lower core muscles to keep your balance. And then inhale, arms overhead, mountain pose. Exhale, prayer to heart. Inhale up. Exhale, purr to heart. We're gonna bring our hands out ahead of our shoulders and we're gonna come down to toe stand. So as you come down to toe stand, you can have your block ready to come down and just rest on your block, take some of the weight. You can have your block ready. Otherwise, we're gonna lift up the balls of our feet. Try to keep that same engagement, the squeeze of the legs and the pull of the legs. So both inside and outside of the legs are super engaged. Take your hands out. Lift up the heels, trying to find that balance. So bring as if you're pulling your hips in towards each other and then your stomach back towards your spine. Find your center of balance. And then you're gonna, slow as you can, lower the hips down towards the heels without landing on the heels. As slow as you can. Once you get there, hover. You may need your block. Hover, hold, engage. And then sink down onto the heels if you can, keeping the toes down, resting on your block. If you need to take a break, take a break. We're gonna go on to our side crow. So thinking about all those muscles that we have used, we're pulling our stomach in towards the spine, really tight. So thinking about sternum, you're gonna hollow it out, really round out. Squeeze everything in towards the spine from the outside in. And then we're gonna twist. So, setting up, squeeze, twist to your right. You wanna try and get the right just above the elbow on the right arm into just below the knee on the thigh of the left arm, right leg. Bring it in, twist, and land your hand down on the ground. Two ways you can practice side crow. You can bring your right hand down so that the same place, just above the elbow, right, making a shelf on your tricep, lands just below your hip. Or you can take your hand out very, very wide, a little more difficult, takes a little more strength. So see which one you're ready to try. So landing both arms down, getting strong first, and then pulling up out of the ground. Woo. Pulling up out of the ground with the muscles of the chest and stomach. Engage both legs and pull up. Take a little play. And then switch sides. So coming back to your toe stand. Slowly, 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 twisting, engaging, hollowing. Land on your shelf with your arms. And pull the feet up. And when you're done playing, come on down to a seat. So land on your seat. Start to feel your hips on the ground, and we're gonna take some circles to kind of loosen that twisty space. So thinking about moving the rib cage round in a nice soft circle. Not so much engagement now. And then back the other way. Bring your torso center. Pull the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Squeeze and hold. And then pull the shoulders all the way down. Squeeze. Bring the shoulders back to neutral. Pull the shoulders all the way forward. And then shoulder blades back together. Squeeze. Slow your breath. Bringing your fingertips down to point towards you, either beside you or front. Slowly stretch out the backs of the wrists, maybe a little more this time. You can also do this on your block. Slow your breath. Take your hands out even with the shoulders, make fists. Squeeze the arms, tight, tight, tight. And then slow circles with the wrists, really slow. So really feeling the muscles of the arms and the wrists as if we're trying to take out any tension, any creaks, any groans from working on balancing. Pull the wrists back towards the elbows and then pull the wrists down. Feeling the muscles of the hands, so squeezing the hands. Let that down, soften. Holding on to the left shoulder. So just holding to remind the left shoulder to be soft. Take the palm up of the right hand and then make a circle, trying to make the circle with the lower arm. So we're just thinking about our elbows a little. Thinking about the muscles of the arm. Slow, slow circle and then back the other way. Hand is soft this time. We're just trying to work lower arm and around the elbow. Take out any tension. Other side, holding on to just below the left shoulder with the right hand. Palm up and move from below the elbow. Nice slow circles. Really trying to think about the elbow more than the wrist. And back the other way. Slow your breath. And then take glitter, flick it away. We're going to lay on the blocks. Keep the block kind of close to the end of your mat and come on down to your back. We're going to use our foot on the block. So you want to have it kind of close to your feet. Come on down to your back. Make sure your block is handy. Bring your feet to the ground, knees up. Soften the hips and the low back. Land on the ground, soften the neck. Take a check-in on the neck. Make sure you're not forcing your neck straight, forcing the back of your neck to the ground. Bring the chin up to the ceiling. Let that natural curve soften back into your neck. See if you can land the shoulders on the ground. And if they feel like they're still pulling up and they're rounded, pull them forward intentionally. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those muscles as if you're really trying to look like the hunchback of Notre Dame. Really pull the shoulders forward. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Take a deep breath in and with the exhale, suddenly let them loose. See if they soften a little more. And then try that a couple of times. And then see if you've got your shoulders down on the ground. If they're still not down on the ground, take your fingers and take them just underneath the rib cage. Imagine you're pulling your fingers apart, your fingertips gently apart. Just a gentle little self-massage, seeing if there's any tension in this space. And seeing with a gentle pull outwards, maybe your shoulders start to soften a little more into the ground. Nice slow breath. Exploring this space, exploring the muscles around your breathing. There's a long nerve that runs along this space. So use your breath to really consciously massage this nerve space, massage the front of your body with your breath as you're gently opening and widening, pulling, as if you're pulling out and letting these muscles loosen and soften. Because we did work on toe stand, we're going to work through the foot. Just make sure our feet are nice and healthy. Rest your right foot on the block. So rest your right heel on the block. And we're going to push the toes away from us, extending the foot as far as we can, really engaging the muscles of the right foot. Trying not to take this all the way up into the hip. So let the low back be soft. And then pull the toes all the way back to the shin. And then nice and slow with all the muscles of the foot engaged, maybe even spreading the toes wide. Take a really slow circle with the foot, trying to feel any places of tension in the foot. Really slow. And then back the other way. Noticing any points of the circle that might be difficult, maybe taking a couple of pulses there. So explore the foot, working one direction and the other. Noticing any parts that are a little difficult, maybe taking a couple of muscle pulses. Soften your face, soften your back, soften your neck, soften your shoulders. Really working the muscles of the foot. And then let the foot go, soften and loosen. Give it a little paddle back and forth. Really loosening the muscles of the foot. And switch the block in underneath the left heel. Land the right leg down on the ground. Push the toes away from you, really finding all the muscles of the foot. Squeeze and curl and push. And then draw the toes all the way up to the shin. And then take really slow circles with the foot. One direction as slow as you can, noticing any hard points and pulsing through. And then back the other way. So one direction, full circle, and then back the other way. So really finding the muscles of the foot. Finding any tension, kind of pulsing the muscle through the tension. Really having that mind-body connection. Right now, you're only thinking about the muscles of the feet, the foot. You're really landing in the muscles of the foot, feeling what is present in the muscle of the foot, and trying to keep everything else as soft as possible. Face, shoulders, back. And then take some back and forth pulses with the foot, trying to let the muscles of the foot go. And then remove the block out of the way. Land the legs down almost straight. So a small bend in the legs. We're going to work through the legs, pulsing. So pulse both feet now. Trying to keep a soft wriggle throughout the entire body. So trying to land soft, and the pulse, the wiggle, the flip of the feet is nice and soft, not muscular action. See if you can get the wiggles, that somatic shake to happen throughout the body. All the way through the torso, maybe even down to the arms. Noticing any points that are gripping. Slowing your breath, softening. Getting that cellular reset, letting go. See if you can soften the legs a little more, soften the glutes, soften the low back. Soften the shoulders, soften the neck. And then take a really slow, deep breath in, and with the exhale, land suddenly. Notice where the body lands. Notice if it's twisted left or right, if one foot is over to one side and the other foot is in a completely different direction. Notice now anything that still seems to be tight, any gripping in any muscles. Find that mind-body connection. Get to know your holding patterns. If you find any muscle gripping, see if you can bring intentional breath as if in bringing fresh energy and sending it right to that muscle. And imagine it being recharged and refreshed and softening with every breath you draw in, and every breath out it's loosening its gripping. Breathing in fresh and releasing tension with the exhale. And then starting to make a decision about where you would like to be for your resting pose. Maybe this is the perfect position for you right now. Maybe you feel you need to adjust with props. Maybe you need a different position entirely. Begin to make that decision for yourself. Start to prep for your resting pose. So really softening into the ground, loosening, softening, letting go. Bring all of your awareness to your throat. So if you think about energetic centers in the teachings of the chakra, our throat is often related to a blue. So if you want to think about a blue ball resting in this energetic center, swirling ball of energy right here in our throat. If you would just like to think about the nerve bundle that's right about here that creates this swirling energy, just rest all of your awareness and focus right here on your throat. Notice if you have tension here. So notice the back of the throat. Notice any gripping. And if you're uncertain, take a few very strong breaths in and a forceful out. See if you can move anything. So take a couple of really feeling the breath vibrate and cleanse the back of the throat. And then soften back in and see if you have any further tension resting in the throat. Bringing all of your awareness right here to the throat. The throat is the center of truth. So speaking our truth and the words that we speak being in line with our center truth, with our innermost truth. So our purpose, our moral compass, our spirit, whatever you want to locate, the truth. So thinking about this space, thinking about it being refreshed and charged, and bringing all of your focus here. If you're very visual, just thinking about a blue ball of energy, cleansing, moving freely. If you're a little more feeling, perhaps feeling this space and locating all of the sensation you can between the collarbone and the chin. Really trying to land all of your awareness right here in your throat. I'm going to read from a card that I pulled today about truth. Authenticity, truth, self-awareness are key to your success. your evolution, and most importantly, the offering and receiving of love. Love. Others can't know you until you know yourself. Others can't love you for who you truly are unless you reveal yourself to them. And you can't achieve the greatness you came here for until you embody your most empowered and authentic self. My intention is to know myself, to live and love authentically, and to allow my deepest truth to guide all of my endeavors. So as you're resting and focusing in on this space, think about releasing all of the things that you have said that you felt perhaps were not in line with your truth. You don't know what that means. It's the things that you have said that you have regrets about. Think also about the things without cognitively bringing memories, but just think of them as things stuck in your throat. Think also of things that you wish you had said that you perhaps were not brave enough to say. And think about all these things as little particles stuck in your throat. And as you soften and loosen and surrender into the rest of being supported by the ground, imagine your uncontrolled breath just gently sweeping this away as you're ready to loosen and let go. And every time that the mind does what it does and pulls you into a memory or draws you into a distraction or takes you down a familiar path, just return to the idea of a soft blue swirling energy cleansing the throat, making space for you to speak your truth. If you have the time to spend in your resting pose, continue to practice resting in your throat, resting in a cleansing, softening of the throat space, and gently pulling all your awareness back to this space whenever you get trailed away. Take as much time as you need, as much time as you can. If you need to finish up at 60 minutes, you're going to slowly bring yourself back to awareness of your room, your body on the ground. Bring some gentle movements. And then rub your hands together, make them really nice and warm. And then place them on your throat or just over your throat if that's not comfortable, and connect to the warmth of your hands. Imagine the warmth of your hands could soften anything further, resting in around this space. If you like to work with mantras or intentions, perhaps uttering to yourself a few times, "I am free to speak my truth." And then slowly making your way over to a fetal position, whatever side is calling to you, curling up in a little ball. And imagining some of those burdens that we thought about without memories, some of the heaviness from around our throat, things we've said that we've regretted, things that we wish we'd have said, and perhaps some of the things that we say to ourselves often in our own heads that are unkind and unnecessary. So think of those harsh judgments that you place on yourself and imagine some of these things softening onto the ground, being ready to soften, let go, release the burden of carrying things that are not in line with your innermost truth. And come on up to a seat with your hands of prayer, this time your prayer in front of your throat. Slow your breath. And let this be a little prayer of offering a little prayer to your innermost self, a promise to yourself to try carefully to choose your words, deeds, and actions in line with your innermost truth, and to be forgiving with yourself when they are not in line with your innermost truth. May we all know and connect to our innermost truth and share it. Be bold enough and brave enough to share it with those around us. Thank you so much for joining me.